way to get good at answering law school exam questions is to practice answering law school exam questions. It's good to have a strategy, and we already talked about Iraq. Okay, so that's critical. But at some point, you have to stop reading about strategy and actually practice the strategy. It's the best way to improve. Like if you wanted to become a good painter, you wouldn't just read books about painting all day. You'd actually have to get out there and paint at some point. So that's the idea right now. You want to make sure you have access to as many practice exams as you can, and then you want to make it part of your regular routine to start practicing answering questions. There's a few different sources for law school practice exams. The first source are exams that your professor has given students in the past. So if you have a professor who's taught for a little bit, see if you can access their exams. Sometimes your law school library will have them, sometimes your professor will make them accessible to you, but either way you want to make sure that you can access these. These are your absolute best source of practice exams because your professor's past exams will show you the format they like to test in, they'll show you the style they like to test in, how they like to test certain issues, what they think it's important to note. So it's really important that you get a hold of these if they exist, or if your professor is releasing them. If not, then problems and supplements like examples and explanations or glanding guides can be really helpful. In fact, we recommend that people use these throughout the law school semester. So after you learn a concept, you can test yourself with like a mini fact pattern and make sure you know how to apply the law. So it's a really good source of practice, and they otherwise illuminate the law if you have trouble understanding the law. And then lastly, there are a lot of other resources that contain exams with model answers, and we have a link to them in our guide here. So if you want to save yourself some time Googling it, you can just go to our link. But otherwise, you can Google something like contracts practice exam and model answer, and then get sources of practice exams that way. And if you have to go some route like that, what I would recommend is you spend some time just Googling it, getting a bunch of them ready, printing the exam question and the model or sample answer, and then just having a big stack of them ready for you. Because if you have to go hunt for them every time you feel like practicing an exam, that's going to be an extra step and it's going to dissuade you from wanting to practice. So I would make it a point to do that, and then you'll have a nice resource readily available to you, and you can begin diving into practice exams.